From time to time, God visits us very concretely through people. In fact, I am thinking that one of the privileged forms we have to receive the presence of God is through a real friend. I say this because it is so human to love. It is so human to suffer. It is so human to forgive, need to be forgiven. It is so human to make mistakes. And the friend is with whom we divide the dynamics of these verbs daily. When I speak friend, I put the possibility that we have a mother who is also a friend, a father who is also a friend. In proper proportions, a friendship that does not overshadow the fundamental role of that person in our lives. The father's first role is not to be a friend. It is to be a father. But he can be a friendly father. When we find in someone the possibility of combining Christian mystique in such a concrete, so real, so true way. When someone, by the mystery of being who he is, accompanies us, when someone, in the mystery of being who he is, relieves our existence. I don't like to judge on others the responsibilities that are ours. I am aware that some things I need, only I can offer myself. By the way, much of what I need, only I can offer myself. It is very unfair that I ask the other to give me what I can only give. For example, self-love. Right? Am I the first to manage the love that lives within me? My personal experience of being who I am? And have to manage the meaning every day for my existence. I am the one who I have to abandon every day the illusion that life is perfect, that I will have a wonderful life, that everything will be splendid. It is me who I need to manage daily the understanding that everything is marked by the limit, and that even being marked by the limit, life can be good. I don't have to wait for the other that my life is good because of him. No. The first step for this is here inside my heart. In my head. When I do my personal hygiene, just as I need to wash my face, I also need to wash my soul every day, so that all the illusions that this life should be perfect, that everything will be wonderful, that everything will be splendid. No, it's not like this. So, every day I need to make it fall apart, which is not true. Have you ever stopped to think that we are often not happy because we spend much of our time idealizing life? Idealizing situations, realities, or even committing this cruel crime of always preparing for the future, a joy that should be lived today. It's that lie we listen to. Life starts at 40. That's a lie. Life begins all the time. As if at 40 we had a position to interpret what happened as something that was not worth it, with the possibility of projecting a future as if life is now valid. No, life is worth all the time. Even when we experience the most atrocious of all the pain, when we experience death, life is always worth it. I don't have the right to stay here today, projecting a joy for the future without interest in the daily life around me. This is my meaning. Just as I need to wash my face every morning, I need to wash my soul so that all the excesses that, unfortunately, I put and allow them to put on it. It is the first step, my people, so that life is possible. It is the first step for us to be able to manage existence with all the burdens that are on themselves. And we cannot give up the burdens that are proper to existence. There is no direction ready. That's why I like Christianity so much. Because it doesn't deceive us. Because Jesus understands life as it really is. It can be wonderful, it can. But it can also be very sad. And it is in the architecture of these two possibilities that we position ourselves with the responsibility, then, to live with dignity what was proposed to us today. And so we are friend. So we are father. So we are brother. That there are sufferings that are by our side, that as much as we are sympathetic to that suffering, the pain remains from the other. It is the limit. It's the limit that the father needs to face every day with his son, looking at that child leaving with his backpack to go to school. And the father is unable to save that child from all the sufferings he will have to face on that day. This is how we love many times, wanting to put a protection bead so that the other does not suffer what we need to suffer to be who we are. But then we commit an injustice. If you withdraw what you have suffered, if you retire the struggles that you truly had to crash to be who you are today, you would not have worked very well in life. you would not have worked very well in life. So in the gesture of wanting to love and protect, we want to deprive each other of living what will really grow it. Have you observed how we do this when we love? Then we offer the other a love that unprotects. Many times our protection is a dislike, because by surrounding each other of all attention and affection so that it does not suffer, we are depriving precisely from the most human element, what we can. That is undeniable in our condition. That it is precisely the fact that we are limited. Today I had to live a day surrounded by my limits. Physical limits, personal, human, psychic, emotional limits. And yet, I had to handle life. My friends are part of this process, but the first step is always mine. This is where God lives, my people. And this motivation, this is where conversion needs to happen. And what we need to ask God every day. We do not want it to modify our life. We want Him to change who we are. Because if He changes who we are, it is very likely that naturally we change the life we live. This is where God needs to act, in this central core, where the self lives. If we can locate where I live, everything you are goes through your head. That's why I always say that conversion is here. It's the way we think, it's the way we look at the Father, it's the way we look at the child, it's the way we look at those we love. That's why Christianity is so concrete, because it changes our way of loving. Okay, I want to love. I want to love beside it. I want to love, but without depriving Him of the suffering. And I want to be mature enough to understand that life is, anyway. That I do not have the right to create a victim spirit within me who will justify me as an eternal failed. Because sometimes this happens, my people. Life, when it is lasting for each of us, seems to use it gives the right of a victim certificate that we will always present to justify our lack of courage, our lack of mobility, our lack of hope. It is not to be so. No one promised us that it would be easy. At no time did Jesus promise His disciples that it would be easy. See the language He used. Pay a visit to the Gospels, and you will see that at no time did Jesus talk about fighting, sword, painful processes, cross. I do not identify even with some perspectives, some ways to interpret Christianity. When you identify that God is blessing you just because you are getting rich, just because you are getting rid of problems. You identify that God is being a blessing in your life because He makes you winner all the time. Okay, it is no problem you think of victory as a vocation that God gives us. But we do not have the right to detach the victory of the fighting process. We do not have the right to say tithing in this church, and from now on you will be a man and a blessed woman. This is not how God acts. Or even identify that failure is often identified as a lack of God's presence in our lives. No. Often failure is a natural process of the choices we make, and God will be there on our side at the time of failure. I am not devilish at the time of my failure. I cannot identify the poverty of the other as a manifestation of the non-predilection of God for him. No, God is in all these places. God is with the failed. God is with the poor. God is in misery. There where the miserable is, God is present. And if by chance, we, with our attitude, be able to break the power of that misery by virtue of our commitment, which is always awarded. I like to say that all human action, which is promoting good, which is a victory, transformation, is already naturally blessed. It is the grace of God acting on us. I cannot be good without the grace of God acting on me. Even for me to regret my sins, I need the action of grace on me. And to identify that this process is human, it is natural. And I cannot oppose what is human in me, because it is in the welcome of this humanity that God will react. This is how He visits our life through friends that give us the right word, who encourage us. recall us that we have to establish this pact daily with existence, for our religion to be fruitful, my people, so that we are not victims of an alienating discourse, a discourse that disapproves of us from human responsibilities, which is embraced to divine graces. He came with a message. A reporter asked. Cora Coralina, who is a great Goyas poet, who asked her like this. Cora Coralina, what is living well? And she said, I'm not afraid of the years, and I don't think about old age. And I tell you, don't think too. Don't say I'm aging. I'm getting old. I don't say that. I don't say I'm old, and I don't say I'm listening little. Oh, of course, when I need help, I say what I need. I always try to read it and be updated with the facts, and it helps me to overcome life's difficulties. The best script is to read and practice what you read. The good thing is to always produce and not sleep in day. Well, I can't say that yesterday because I slept the whole afternoon. Right? Because I arrived a sleepless night and had to sleep. I contradicted the colon yesterday. Also, don't tell you that you're getting forgotten, because so you get even more. You need to be very careful what you pronounce on yourself. Careful. I am very forgotten. Stop this. Start thinking positive. Don't put yourself so many defects, because you end up taking on these defects. I never say I'm sick. I always say I'm great. I never say I'm tired. Nothing a negative word. The more you say you're getting tired and forgotten, the more than forgotten and tired you get. Are you listening, Netta? Listen to me well, that now I will tell you, lady. You will be convinced of it and convince others. And truth. So, do not complain. She says, I know that I have many years. I know I come from the last century and bring me all ages, but I don't know if I'm old or not. Do you think I am? I can say that I am the earth and nothing else I want to be. Daughter of this blessed land of Goyas, I call the old ones like me, or older than me, exercise their rights. If anyone will have to bury me, the important thing is to sow. To produce millions of smiles of solidarity and friendship. I try to sow optimism and plant seeds of peace and justice. I say what I think with hope. I think about what I do with conviction. I do what I should do with love and efforts to be better every day. Because goodness we also learn. Is the text beautiful? Cora Coralina has already died, has passed away. But she did not allow life to be dead inside her. This is very edifying for us to hear testimony like that. People who do not allow the soul to slaughter, right, my people? Because difficulty we always have. That's why I like to always be the bearer of a word that is encouraging, fighting. It's not to run your hand on anyone's head, no. It is for us to find out the value of the fight. What Jesus proposes to all the people he finds is struggle. Do not settle in your defects. Do not bury yourself ahead of time, as Cora Coralina says in the text. I know someone will bury me, but I won't do this to me. Sometimes we buried ourselves. We started dying before the time. We anticipate the process of burial when I find out that I am no longer cultivating joys, when I am no longer receiving the light of day, when I am no longer celebrating my possibilities, when I got used to life. Life cannot. You cannot get used to life. Life needs to always be an experience of charm. Today I need to delight myself with what I have. That's why, my people, that there is no ready answer. We have no possibility of responding ready for anyone's problems. Because life, before being a ready answer, is a question that is worth it. You question yourself all the time what I can do today to improve the world, don't you? And that, to be a mystique, which leads us, that leads to me, that leads you, this mystique, that does not allow us to stop in time, but that we welcome every day, every moment, with a possibility. And we go back to her text. Kindness is something we learn. Learn to be good. Learn to value life, isn't it? Sometimes we are damaging our hearts. We get used to the difficulties we have, and we end up learning goodness. We end up learning what truly in life is worth it. But things are very difficult in my life. Everything I have been achieving with a lot of sweat. Father, but that's all. That's how it's supposed to be. My daughter, I don't know another way. In my life, everything is also difficult. No one promised that it would be easy. No, my daughter. If we want a result, we have to fight. Nothing falls from the sky. Faith is born from the ground. I think we reverse things, right? Our prayer had to be turned to the ground all the time. This is where God flourishes. God is the same seed, flourish on the floor. This metaphor that God is in heaven, this is beautiful. But it is here. Oh, stepping on this floor that life happens. The strength God gives me, the strength God gives you is so that we can plant a garden. No one promised that our life would be a flower garden, but God promised the strength for us to plant it. I'm here, thank God, full of health. Do you have my effort in this story? Yes. But it is God's gift in me. Want to pass the entrance exam? Study. Don't have this dream, oh Father. Pray to me. I won't pray. No. If you do not study, my prayer is no good at this time. If you do not study, you are no use sitting, kneeling before the Most Holy with the book on your head, O Lord. Helps me pass the entrance exam. Do your task first, then you have the right to wait for the gift. We only have the right to wait for the impossible after we do everything we can. If you are paying too much attention to what is difficult, then everything is even harder, Ray. Guys, life will always be determined from what we pay attention. If you have a problem before you, you have two possibilities. Or you see the problem, or you already see the solution. There are people who only see the problem, then you can hardly find the solution because it fixes the eyes on the problem and there is no eyes to find the solution. And then it depends on how we interpret life. There are people who love difficulty. There are people who love problem and end up becoming a source of problems because they are not willing for solutions. There are people who don't know how to live without a problem. When we are facing a difficult situation, it is very natural that other people, taken by a pork spirit, come to say so, won't do it, it won't work. It is not, and there is always one like that. Didn't I say? I do not know. I'm thinking this business will work out. No, there is always a pork spirit ready to play a destructive phrase that will be discouraged. But not. If we do not pay attention to these speeches, we will extract courage inside us in a way that we did not know. Sometimes, everything. Everything. No, not exactly this. It's just that we look at everything hard. It's not that everything is difficult. We look at everything hard. It can't be like that. We can be a little more optimistic. Difficulty exists in everyone's life. They are everywhere. Now, the way we face these difficulties is that it will make a difference. There are 5,000 people for 5 vacancies. Don't worry, see? 90% of these 5,000 who are trying this place has not studied the way you studied. If you truly prepare for things, you already eliminate most competitors, because most are more or less. Most are living more or less. Most are doing more or less. There are few people who are truly taking life responsibly the way it needs it. There are few young people who in the 16, 17-year phase are taking the college seriously. There are few college students who are currently attending college with the discipline that the profession will require one day. And I always say, want to be a good professional? Study well what you are studying. Because you don't have the right to be more or less. You don't have it. No one is out of it. You in your area, you need to go after your quality. You who are a doctor, you who are a dentist. You know how much you need to perfect yourself to stay standing in today's world. Today, we are in the time of competence, and it is not a problem. It has to motivate us to want to. Also, recognizing that it is the least, the minimum within us. We deserve to take care of this minimum. This process can be improved more and more. Increasingly increase our possibilities. And then when we bump into our fragility, we have to learn from it. She doesn't have to be discouraged, but much more than professional quality, before it is our human quality. Much more than a good doctor, you need to be a good father, to be a good son, to be a good brother. This is what makes happiness truly come to accommodate within you. It is no use being done in your profession if you are not fulfilled as a person. And that is what we are talking about today. It is this human improvement. And in the college of life, we learn all the time. There is no teacher to teach us to be a father, teaching us to be a brother. No. It is looking into the eyes of those we love that we will discover the right measure, the learning of each day, so that we can be a better human being in today's world. No more bad people. Enough of incompetent people as a person, enough killers, enough thieves, enough of liars. Let's give this world quality. Starting with you, no matter how you lived until today. God's word to us is always optimistic. God continues to see values in you. God keeps believing that your heart can be better. God keeps believing that there, in this heart often marked by failures, there is a victory, which you can arrive. Just do not give up. Pour upon us the blessing of the Almighty God, He who is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. How many of we need to live here right now, who knows, to get out of this suffering that has no redemption in it. We suffer from suffering. We live for living. We are living in half. We are living as if we are making life only a half experience. They say that in China there is a river called the Yellow River, unlike other rivers, because this river ends before it dies. You might ask me like this, but Father, what is the difference between ending and dying? It's not the same thing. No. When we die, we actually enter a new perspective of life. Isn't that how we believe it? So we don't end. We are still in eternity. Death is just a moment of transformation. We become something else. We enter another perspective. We enter another reality. And the river dies in the sea. That is, it is no longer fresh water to mix in salty waters. So what was Rio dies in the sea, that is, turned into sea. The water does not dry. It mixes in the others. And the Yellow River, this river of China, it has no strength to reach the sea, so it does not die. It ends. It will dry. It has no strength to go further. It does not reach its final destination. And you see that the remansion of the waters of a river has no other meaning if it does not lead it to die in its final destination. That is not a sad thing. Death is not a disastrous event for the Christian. Also for the river, it is not. To die at sea is to reach the final destination, the long-awaited destination. The movement of the waters wants nothing but to launch it to its final destination. You see that a river, it is only able to reach the sea as it has tributaries. This is as he has other rivers who join him, where he is not alone. Because alone he dies. He ends before he died. Alone, he does not reach the final destination. How many of us don't risk this yellow king either? The expression itself says, right? There in Minas, when we are not there, this half yellow. And that yellow smile we talk, right? Dull, lifeless. You have a yellow smile today. That is, it's a smile that is ending. It doesn't even start. It's over. Looks like just smiling by. It's over. Now the smile, when he is indeed, he dies in joy. He may end up, but he is not over. He died, that is, turned, lit his eyes. The smile indeed, the real smile, is the one who illuminates his eyes. Do you notice when the smile is a liar? That's when he is just in his mouth. Then he is yellow. Now when the smile is able to overcome the limits of the mouth, illuminate your eyes. And then you don't even have to keep your teeth hanging. We look at you, and we already realize that there is a smile in your eyes. A word we can understand wrong. Now you can never tell me, Father Fabio, I didn't understand the way you looked at me, because the gaze dispenses with words. When we look, we don't have to say anything. A look doesn't deceive. A smile, yes. A word, yes. There is no mistake in the eyes. And so, the look is perhaps the language of the silent. Those who don't have to say much to communicate. You, when you look at your child, you know very well what you are saying. When you look at your child, you can recognize in him what he is telling you. A single look in the midst of so many voices that condemned becomes able to rise. To get up. A single look is able to rise someone who has fallen. I would very much like, deep in my heart, that today this look of Jesus could find us too. Maybe we have the courage to get up and not end. Who knows, for a new hope to take over our heart, so that we can wait for death, which is precisely the moment of our transformation. Because knowing how to live, we will surely know how to die. Today is the time. Today is life. Life was not yesterday. What was yesterday no longer has decision power over us, can even influence. But it's not decisive anymore because it's over. Now, today is the day to look. Today is the day to find out that there is still a way. Today is the day to decide. Who knows how to look for a tributary? If you are a river that is very without water today, if today you don't have much water to reach the final destination, look for the tributaries. We can only reach the end if we have tributaries, if God is helping to go through others, if other people are entering our history. If we hold on to the other, in fact, responsibly, not to point out what was wrong. How many children are there? How many weddings ending up Yellow River? Do you know why? Because water is lacking to bring to the end. And waters are words that will help us win slowly, which will help us overcome obstacles. Water are words that are often given and delivered without any phrase in the mouth, but with looks that cheer us to overcome the first moment in history. Bless today those who are able to seek their tributaries, to seek a good influence on life, to overcome this moment of pain, to overcome this moment of sadness, and to find out that there is already a happiness. That today life can be new to us. That today life can happen beautifully in our history. Because Jesus is here. Jesus is the certainty that we still have a solution. I know that we often give up of ourselves, right? I know that we often look at him and there is no way. This beak is too fallen, so there's no problem. Another is born. Just have the courage to tear it out. It is better to be an eagle without nozzle, but knowing that another is growing. That being an eagle with a beak that is big, but is for nothing. If there is one thing that is difficult in life is to experience mercy on the weak side. Trying mercy on the strong side is great. It is great to give advice. It is great to give money to those who are poor. It is very good to help those who need. This is wonderful. It is almost a vanity to be merciful. I want to see is that we discover the grace and joy of living mercy by the weak side. When I have to take over here in this story, I am needy. It is shameful many times we open our hearts and say, today, who needs help is me. Because I'm ending. My claws are no longer for anything but to hurt. I can't get anything good in the world. I will. And everything I take is just carrion. I can't get anything alive because I no longer have the strength to remove life. I can no longer feed because I am no longer able to have conditions. Skill. Then we live in the carrion. We live cultivating the dead. We live in the past. We live in disappointment. And we do not experience. No proves the beauty on the other side. Do you know when you become able to find out? When you look at a cloth and say, wow, it's funny. The inside out is beautiful too. It is almost to use on both sides. Only you need to see and find out the grace to look inside out. Look at your sadness, for example, inside out. The sadness inside out is always a joy being prepared. The breakup of inside out had to break that relationship that hurt you, which brought pain, which brought suffering. You look inside out and you find out, wow, it's my liberation. The suffering of the break is my liberation. Boyfriends and girlfriends who have been hurting for years and years and years and have no courage to break, do not have the courage to end. Friendships that are sometimes destroying us, addictions that are destroying us. Look inside out the suffering of the break and you discover your release. See humiliation on the inside out. You did it. Before it was impossible to forgive, but now, lending the heart of Jesus, it becomes easier. Because the heart of Jesus will move me, it turns me on, and I am becoming different. Because the transformation is coming to me. Are you seeing badly? Can't you know how to see joy in sadness? You don't know how to see the victory in training, in the suffering of those 5 minutes. Ask God for his glasses. But I thought you so ugly before, funny. I couldn't stand that way of talking. Now with the glasses of Jesus, I see you differently. I saw you with so much prejudice, my God from heaven. I thought you a vulgar man. Suddenly I put the eyes of Jesus and see you in a different way. I didn't have the slightest patience with you. And now with the glasses of Jesus, I see you in a way. It looks like it has changed. And sometimes it's the same way. What changed was your way of seeing. Look at your hands. Hands that have so many times worked, and hands that have so many times stopped doing nothing. This is our life. And think that in these hands, God decided to put your happiness. The present is there, only that is wrapped. It is necessary to have the courage to open the package. And inside this box, God has put a pair of glasses. This is your gift so you can put today and can see a different world.